Okay, good morning, guys. Let's get rolling. So this is Simon with Trade and Perform Coaching and ToughTrader.com doing the market preview for, excuse me a second. I'm going to be interrupted. That's my daughter. Hold on a sec. Hello? Hello? Mia?
Yes?
Yes.
Did you tell Mama coming home?
Yes.
Oh, she's not opening the door. Do you know what the code is to get in?
Yeah, I gave it to you. That's why I thought you, okay. When I send you stuff, you've got to write it down, okay?
You didn't send it to me.
2380.
Okay. Do I have to hit the brinks afterwards?
Yes.
There we go.
Love you. Have a great day.
Did it just lock itself again? Did it work for you? It just locked itself again.
Yeah, hit 2380 Brinks. Quickly, I'm in a meeting, baby.
No, it's not because the door's not opening.
Let me call mom.
There she is. Okay, bye.
But okay, daughter having issue at new house. So we got that fixed. Sorry for the delay, guys. So again, just quickly before we get started, past performance is not indicative of future results. Trading derivatives has substantial risk. The only way you can make money day trading is by having some level of consistency and having your expectancy be that with your winners and losers, you at least have a flat outcome, hopefully a profitable outcome, right? This is for educational purposes. I'm essentially sharing my trade plan with you in hopes it'll make you a better trader. Take what you like, leave the rest, right? Adapt it to your own personal, what fits you best personally. Figure out where the gap is between what you do, right? Figure out where the gap is between what you do and what your trade plan is. That's where the rub is. And when I coach most people individually, when I find out where their weak spots are, if we go in and fill those weak spots, get rid of their weak trading, they at least can get to break even, and then they free up their mind so they can start learning how to get consistently profitable, right? And then also remember that even if you have a 90% win rate, right, that means you have 10% of trades that are distributed unevenly, right, as losers. Don't judge your trade on a don't judge your trade on the basis of whether it made money or lost money. Judge your trade on the basis of that setup works 90% of the time, and if it loses, that's the 10% of the time or the 20% of the time that you see a loser in a high odds setup. Okay, so quickly, let's jump to the profile first. I have time this morning, 8:09. I have time to do this, so I'm going to do it the slow way. Okay, so this is where you take notes. Okay, we're just going to go through this step by step. All-time high, right? That was a okay high, right? Doesn't have to be retested. There is a volume point of control and a TPO point of control, 2913 to 2915. We could not hit it yesterday. I missed that fact. That is a upside target, and do not be surprised if we get up here, if we tag right into that high and reject right out of it, right? So again, remember, when we're near all-time highs, I prefer to lean long versus short. Actually, in almost all markets, I prefer to lean long versus short. Okay, so next, we are trading on ES at 28.95. Why is this not updating? Hold on a second. I apologize. There we go. Sorry about that. 28.95, right? Value area low is sitting at 29.03 and a quarter. Last night, if you looked at the Slack link, which by the way, members, if you do not have the link to the Slack channel, I'm going to post it right now. So if you're a guest or whoever's in the room, let's see. Okay, so this has just been posted. Good morning, John. It's good to have you back. I hope you enjoyed your vacation. So there's the Slack link right there. If you're a member and you need a paid member, need a longer link, that link is good for 7 days. You can just email me and I'll get you a longer term link. Okay. So number one, we're trading at 28.95, right? So what does that mean? First of all, we're trading below the rally, this rally, which is starting to look like a potential blow off. See, I was all short covering. We got underneath the main structure. We clearly rolled to the downside. And there's two characteristics that have changed. Not only below value area low, so remember, this is what I'm going to work off of all day today, really, is this chart is the backbone of my decision-making process, right? Value area low, value area high came right in at the high. So let's finish this off. And then the TPO point of control and the volume point of control. That's 29.0850 to 29.1150. This whole area from here all the way up to here, that is resistance now. Okay, this whole thing is resistance. So what would I expect? I wouldn't expect it to fly right through here. I'd expect it to be grindy through here, right? And that's why I don't have one particular zone in this location. And so what will we do? We'll default to the reading the order flow through here to figure out what our setups are, right? For today, in order to be bullish, I need to see a couple of things. Number one, I want to see if we can get back above 29.03 and a quarter and hold. Be leery if you're trading above 29.03 and a quarter and you can't get back below. Be leery of shorts going up because it's unlikely that you're going to get an extension. You want your shorts down here to set up so that they're pinging awful color. If you're shorting, you want your shorts to ping off of this. Even if we come in, you really don't want to close much above so you can get the push down. I'm going to show you what one time into the downside looks like. Next, yesterday's low, right? That was a good low. And if you look underneath yesterday's low, so I wrote in the notes, and if you'll look on the chart, which I can bring over really quick. 1 second. Okay, if you will look on the chart, let me bring this in a bit. What do we have below 28.9550, right? That's the big question because that's right where we're sitting right now, right? So you'd expect, number one, look over here to the left. See that? That's excess at the low. You'd expect that to hold, number one. Number two, that's top of an open window. What does that mean? I'm going to go through these as quickly as I can so I can get it. What that means is that we gapped. That was the low of the gap. This is the opening price of that rally day. So that goes back to, let's see, we're on Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. Goes back to Monday's gap. Okay, so that's 86 to 88.50. Right where we haven't sit there, we're up here at 95, but I would expect an attempted response from there. So important, when I say important, it's important. The mid of the half gap, I don't know if I have this marked on the chart, guys. I may have forgotten. You need to put it in your notes. Okay, right there, 28.82 to 28.80.75. Expect a response there. Not only that, but if you look at 28.84, let me go to the chart here really quick and pull it up for you. I did have this, so hold on 1 second here. Okay, fine. I shouldn't have to do this. There we go. Okay, on the other computer. There we are. There we are. Okay, so there's right here. This is Monday's low. This is the old swing high, 28.85. So I don't have to mess with the whole chart. 28.85 to 28.84 is the whole old swing high from January 26th. There's a naked volume point of control at 28.8275. And then there's the mid of the half gap, right, which I'll draw out right here quickly. Mid of the half gap lies just under that naked volume point of control. Guess what? I expect there to be responsive buyers somewhere between here and here. Now, it doesn't have to bounce at that point, but I sure as heck don't want to be short anywhere in that area. From 85 to 80, I am looking for the intraday process to set me up with getting me along out of that area. From this area, what I want to see, okay, as you know, we'll just line it up during the day. If we press down into here, which would be great, right? Anywhere through here, all the way down to here, all the way to 74. But what I want to see is once I get back above 86, hold and push. Okay, so there's going to be a couple characteristics that'll help us figure out, and there's two ways to enter down here. And I'm going to cover it really quickly. Okay, so let's get rid of that. So please just add in your notes that 2882 basically is the mid of the gap, right? And there's a naked volume point of control that got gapped above and never tested from either side, right? And then there's old swing high 85.50. Important, if I get to the 82, I want to see it get above 85 pretty quickly and then above Monday's low for a squeeze back up into what will then be obviously over here. That's going to serve as resistance on the upside if we get down there, right? So what will the reversal look like since we're opening at the low? What are we looking for? So number one, let's just cover that really quickly. First of all, on a 5-minute bar, let me show you what a right click, copy window, right click, paste window. Half the battle in trading is recognizing what you're looking at. What is going on here? There we go. Okay, get 2 copies of this. Okay, see this right over here, guys? That is an open drive higher. You flip the screen upside down, that's what an open drive lower looks like, and it can often have the same effect as an open drive lower, okay? Which means we end up with a trend day, right? What will trend day look like? Delta will stay at negative 20,000 all day. This is the king layup, what it looks like. Delta will stay negative all day, inability to get a VWAP for the day, inability to recapture the 50-60. Now, that's not the only way that you can have a trend day down. Below the first 5-minute bar without recapturing. And there's one more piece. What is it? Mark tick stays negative all day. Oh, and once we break below the first hour low, we never recover it, right? That is a sign of a true trend day down. That is what you're looking for. I'm going to show you what that looks like. Been a little while since we've had that. Okay, this is pretty close, just minus the gap down. So notice here, I'm going to try to find one with the gap down, but I want to give you all a picture. So date 7/27. There's the first 5-minute bar. Notice that we never close above that 5-minute bar, right? Once we close below, there's your impulse move down. Notice that we never recover above the 50 retrace. I'll draw it for you, but you can see that at no point, right, even from the open, right, do we ever get back above the 50 retrace, right? That's what trend day down looks like. And if you add VWAP to that mix, you'll see that we stayed underneath VWAP all day long. You'll see that once we got past the first hour, right, we never got above the first hour low. That is picture perfect trend day down. If we identify this early, the first goal is to survive this. If you can get short, great. Don't get run over in this. And then you can see in the afternoon, the two-sided trading got a lot easier. And if I see this type of price behavior, I will probably push my longs out with delta or without delta past 10:30 in the morning at a minimum, so I don't get crushed, right? I don't want to go into a 3-day weekend having a bad day. I'm going to show you the last time we had this gap down and trend down. So if you go back and look, again, this is the other variation on that. So notice here that we opened down, attempted to fill the gap, failed. We never closed above the first 5-minute bar, closed underneath. Then we started the trend down. What told you that we were unlikely to be in a trend down day? We got above and held above the 50-60 retrace, turned into balance. I'm going to give you, that was 7/19. I'm giving you these dates so you can reference them. and figure out what the hell's going on so you understand. This is interesting. This is a gap down from a relative high, right? It wasn't the all-time high, but we had pushed pretty hard. Look at the gap down. It pushed, right? And this is the alternative view. If we had that first 5 minute up, it can push. And in this case, you can see that we didn't have trend down even though we rolled to the downside. And if you look from prior day's high to low, we didn't recover the 50, 60, and the same thing from the gap fill. We came right to the mid up here, but this would be a bit of a different picture. And as you can see, it wasn't true trend day down, although it was a down day. This is easier for us to handle, actually. And then one last example so that you can go reference it would be, okay, no, one last example for the date so you can reference it. Okay, here's a big gap down from prior day. You can see that we came in and, oh wait, why do I keep going over the same dates here? Let's see here. Gap down, trend day up. So this is the other alternative right here. The 1st of July, gap down, close above the first 5 minute bar, never get underneath, trend day up. Okay, so that date is July 1st. I'm going to show you one more example. 625, gap down from a high, right? Never get above the first 5 minute bar, trend day down all day long, never gets back past the 50, 60. So those are the variations that we're looking for. I would hold those dates or examples of those dates if you're not an experienced day trader, so you can reference back and forth very quickly. It's 8:22. Let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this. Okay, so now for the important part. Members, I put up a video last night reviewing yesterday's delta high deltas, right? I put a link and a password to the video. If you're not familiar, you're struggling with the delta structure, that video is 18 minutes long. Take your time and go through and review yesterday's price action. We're going to do it again right here to show you what we're looking for. That's NQ. Let's get NQ off the screen. Okay, so characteristic change that I want to point out here. Okay, characteristic change. On all other tariff news, right, what the result has been. Why do I have that? Oh, okay. On all other tariff news, so we now know the levels below, right? And at this point, this 28.97, we closed yesterday at 20. One other thing to remember, 29.02, 20 down brings 28.82, 30 down brings 28.72. And one last piece, there's an untested naked volume point of control from this date right here at 75 to 74. The bottom of that anomaly is right there at 73. This is a mega high odds location to look for a response back to the upside. 30 down, it's hard for the market to keep pushing. Please remember, if you're shorting after we are 20 points down in a bull market, you are asking for an ass kicking. No other way to put it. I don't care what the setup looks like. You are begging for an ass kicking. Not only that, you're occupying your mind with looking short instead of looking long, which is what you should be looking for. Okay, so that's the chart. Let's go to the deltas. There we go. Okay, let's get the pre-market set up first, then I'll go back and show some. I already did the video, so I guess the members can go back and see that. Let's cover this really quickly, what we're looking for off the open. So on ES, go look at the terrain. Erase all lines, yes. Okay, number one, delta is negative on the day. Can it get positive? That's a cumulative delta. Can it get positive is my first question. Secondly, we have held under VWAP almost the entire evening of the 24 hours. So my first question is, can we get above and hold above, important, hold above VWAP, right? Where did this rejection come from? If you look where this rejection came from, right prior to European Open, we had this guy right here, 726, right? See how we backside tested, rejected, right? No, almost no heat. As we've rolled down, right? Pre-market, we have 5 minutes till the open, and we have our biggest delta of the evening, making sure at 1936. We already know 2903 is value area low, approximately, right? I want to know, can I get above 2903? So we are covering above. So I've already demonstrated to the members of the room, right? In the first half hour, these deltas, even if they ultimately hold, tend to get a little bit more heat than just the 2 points that we're normally using on stops against these bars, right? And sometimes it takes 2 shots to make them work. Yesterday, it took 3 shots, right? So you have a very binary choice. Yes, I can handle the heat in the first half hour, and I'm willing to take either a shot at the long, or I'm willing to take every shot at the long, or I'm willing to take no shots at the long because it ruins the rest of my day. There's been plenty of trading opportunities after 9 a.m. all week long, right? So just decide, yeah, I can take the loss and keep rolling, or nope, not willing to take a loss in the first half hour. It ruins my day. I'm skipping. I'll wait till things get a little bit easier after 9 a.m. I did not look if we have any major econ at 9 a.m., so let me look really quick. We have 9 a.m. Chicago PMI, 10 a.m. Excuse me, 8:45 Central Time Chicago PMI, 9 a.m. Revised University of Michigan consumer sentiment numbers. Okay, and new home sales are coming out. Oh, in Australia. Sorry, my bad. Don't worry about that unless you are trading Sunday evening. Okay. So this is the delta that has to hold, right? You can see that we've closed above. If you want a quick trade, you'd want to test in here really quickly. I would put my stop below that swing low. So your risk is 96.75, and I'd just put it at 2 points, and you have to be willing to take it 2 times, right? Your target to the upside, 726 immediately, and then the 2903. That's where resistance lies between the 726, which isn't a very big delta, and really this 2903, which I would expect to get tested sometime this morning. If we fail to get above 2903, I expect the low to get retested and then down into the 80s for those areas that we covered pre-market. Going into yesterday at the close, right? I want to know what my big deltas look like at the end of the day and who's hiding out. If I recalled correctly, and please someone on Slack and members in the room, let's keep as much of the conversation private or public in the general conversation on Slack, please. I believe the biggest delta of the afternoon was right here at 4,000. And again, that lies not only at value area low, but 2904 to 2903. That's the resistance point that you have to break. And if I really wanted to attempt a short, I'm going to watch PA very closely in this area because this is where I want to get a rejection out of. And that's my target. If I get that backside test of that delta and you're playing that delta. So I'm not going to call that trade. I've just pointed out where it is. You decide whether you want to take it or not. I'm not going to start calling trades in the first half hour. I'll point out where they are. If we get above this location, right, the logical target is back to the last swing high at 29.10.12. And that was a double top, and we failed to make it to prior day's TPO point of control, right? So those are the targets above. Then we'll look at the targets below. The other thing I want to add, I think I've got another minute, and then I'm going to go focus on the trades, okay? The other thing I want to add, yesterday, Delta was negative almost all day long, and you saw that counter rally, and I didn't quite know what to do with it. The next time you see the Delta negative all day long and it rallies, know that if we fail, we could probably fail pretty big. I'd say that was one of the pieces I missed when I was doing my notes last night. We are looking for the biggest deltas to print intraday, and we are looking for big deltas today, right, guys? So right out of the gate, right, you would expect a backside test of this guy right here, 28.9675. If that holds and we can't push below, expect a response up to 29.03, okay? And I'm not going to call anything on NQ this morning. I'll just let it work itself out. We have held the biggest delta from yesterday afternoon all night long. We've tested back into it. Obviously, we have not tested lows from yesterday afternoon in NQ yet. And 76.54 on NQ is still the big number, okay? So they are trying to push NQ up. They're pushing right into that 46.54 that has served as resistance almost all night long, right? We have a brief break above. And interesting, NQ is pushing up while ES is pushing down. If you want a quick long on ES, this is where you're taking the long, this 28.9675. Your stop, I put it 2 ticks below the low and hold my breath. I have no idea if that trade will work out. It's the first half hour. And we're off to the races. Let's see where we go from here. Target up, 2903. Target below is down into the 2886 area. And then obviously you've got to get below 2895.50 in order to make a push lower. And that's my 2 cents about that. I don't have anything else to add. You would think that they would step back in, but this is the first time I've seen where we have opened up after Asia didn't panic last night, but we didn't recover the downside move either. So it was a little bit weird all the way around, I would say, right? So that's my 2 cents on that. I don't have anything else to add. Right, so we're pushing up into this 50-54, and we'll see if they have any kind of response from that area. So, and Delta's overall negative, and we're pushing into VWAP right out of the gate. And like I said, we haven't even tested this yet, so let's see if we come back in for a test. The early response is attempt to push on NQ, and that shouldn't be a shock to anybody. Right up to the 54. Notice ES is actually lagging behind NQ. And again, we will have econ the first couple of minutes, right? Potential open drive higher right out of the gate too. So watch out on it in Q. We're above that 54. I'd want to see us underneath 54 before I took a shot to the short side if I was shorting NQ. So the next question we're looking on those 5-minute bars, can we get above or below the first 5-minute bar, right? It's really the first question we're asking in this whole process. Delta improving, but still negative. And that would make sense. Remember, we would expect to shake out the shorts that's been on the bottom of this location all night long. If we didn't shake out the shorts, it would be weird, right? And it would also add fuel to the downside if we didn't shake out the shorts. So 54, there should be an attempt to hold that. If they get underneath 54 on NQ and ES right into VWAP, we still haven't gotten above 2903. And we're watching for the delta to turn positive and the biggest delta of the day, right? So far, the 1083 is the biggest delta of the day session. We have bigger deltas overnight so far. And all we're hunting for, remember, we're not trying to predict where the whole market's going. We're looking for our lowest risk entry to reward area. That is what we are hunting. Thick is positive 310. And both first 5-minute bars are green and printed. So you got to get below there to have a push to the downside, right? That's unfortunate we couldn't even tag that. They missed it by 2 ticks. It'd have been nice to have a push right down into that for a long. Too bad. 2903 seems to be the upside target at this point. We were above 76.54. And we are testing the last swing high and attempting to get above the swing high from the overnight. I have no red bars on any range on NQ since the open. Nor do I have any red bars on ES, right? Lack of presence of sellers. Why? Everyone's short overnight. They've had all night long to get bearish, right? That's why I was hoping I could get tested into this for potential long or push to 2903. Just didn't happen. Again, I wasn't going to call that trade. Pointed it out for those who wanted to take it. I was limit right there, and I didn't get filled. So now I need to go back and look. 2903 is where that big delta is. This is where you're going to short. This is where you're looking. We're also above VWAP on the 24 hours, right? So I thought, in general, if you told me that Asia didn't panic on that news, I would have thought we would go back up and just mirror image the move back up overall. The data doesn't support that yet, but that's what I would think would end up being what this move starts to look like, right? Also worth noting, we're not trading below prior day's low in either market, right? That's not bearish, okay? So the first backside test, this is the biggest delta of the day so far, right? You'd expect this to hold. You've got to get underneath this guy to be short, and you've got to get it underneath this guy to be short. It's kind of foobar here, right? But if this holds, you'd expect continuation up. That's the biggest delta of the day right now. And you can see there's just zero down rotation, right? This is open drive higher if you'll look on the charts. Shorting this is a little nutty if you're looking for a short. With that 5-minute, if you look at your 5-minute bar on NQ, that is straight up open drive higher. Nothing but, right? So I would not get bearish in a bull market like this. It's so hard. It's frustrating not to be able to get the long actually, where they just open it. The low tick was the open print on NQ. And same thing on ES. The open print was the low of the day so far. You got to get below and hold below that. Or I don't see a reason why we're not going to mirror image this if we can't break the lows from yesterday, right? So I need to see a change in character right out of the gate to get bearish already. Or a very big delta print on top, get underneath it and backside test it, one of the two. So I'm actually a little frustrated that I don't have a way to get a long at this point, or that I didn't get long right out of the gate because I just sit back and see if that low would hold. And then also remember, so if you look on the 5-minute chart on NQ, right, and on ES, what do you want to see? The ability to close below the prior 5-minute bar at a minimum would show you that, hey, there's some sellers present in this environment, right? If there's not sellers present in this environment, what do you do about that, right? Life becomes very, very difficult if you don't, if you can't manage to find those sellers and you're bearish, right? Very, very difficult to make those trades work if you can't get underneath a prior 5-minute bar. And that's where retail traders get stuck all the time, right? They start shorting, going, it's got to go down. I'm telling you, watch that 5-minute bar. You don't get underneath, you're looking for dips, right? And right now that's open drive higher on NQ, and there's not any resistance in this thing. If you look at that 5-minute bar, there's a huge down bar. If we can get above this swing high, which was the last swing high of the end of the day yesterday, there's nothing above to keep that thing rolling right up to 76.96. This is where bears have to find rejection, basically. But I'm looking at the price action. I'm not seeing any fear or any desire to get out. Delta's still net negative, right? But we saw yesterday Delta can stay negative and rally pretty hard still. We're about to have econ here in 2 minutes. NQ right up against the high of the days. And so the mode I want to be in is just, where's my big delta? Where's my backside test, short or long, right? I just want to see that big delta. I want to see it set up. If this thing just climbs bar over bar over bar, my next opportunity is to get delta plus 20K. We all know what the trade is that looks like that. I've already went through a detailed review yesterday afternoon, right? And if I don't ever get the backside test of that bar, I just sit and relax. I know that my best trades have actually been coming after 10:30 in the morning, not prior to 10:30 in the morning, most days over the last 2 weeks. That's Central Time that I'm referring to. Econ in 1 minute. So my first question is, can I trade underneath a 5-minute bar on ES or NQ? Right. There's econ. Out. There's almost no response to it. Now ES is pushing to high of the day. So there you have it. That sucks. That would have been nice to get that backside test. But it's early in the day, and our attitude is Just show me where the deltas are, show me where the order flow is, and let me trade against that. Right now, the market's doing a beautiful job of what? Shaking out all the people who got bearish yesterday. Right? That's what we're doing, is we're running those guys over. Why? Because the target up is 2903. So that first 5-minute bar is my pivot for the whole day. Everyone else is going to be watching it too, right? So next we have Michigan sentiment numbers coming up, top of the hour. Again, notice the lack of volatility, lack of counter rotation, right? That's telling you it's not ideal. Delta is improving. See that? So the short doesn't look overly tempting unless I have a larger time frame or a different strategy than what I'm executing in the room, right? In which case, I have no business worrying about that, right? That's not my job. My job is to figure out, can we get below the first 5-minute bar, so I don't any 5-minute bar, so I don't get steamrolled all day long trying to short, right? Because remember, this thing can grind up all day. We've all experienced it. It hurts to take losses on grinds up. Okay, so I'm waiting to see that counter rotation appear in any way, shape, or form. So far in NQ, I've got no down rotations, almost at all. Yes, Daniel does point out correctly. We are pushing into the biggest deltas on NQ from yesterday, right? Daniel, you got to balance between the lack of counter rotation. That's where you got to decide whether you're willing to take that loss against those deltas from yesterday, right? And hopes that we're not going to break them, or you're going to wait to see evidence intraday of weakness. And I need to see the evidence first that they're actually going to roll it to the downside in any way, shape, or form before I decide to come in and do battle with that particular market. It's just too strong. It's top of the market, and the odds are when we open up like this, we can grind like this all day long. So I've got to see weakness before I enter, and then get a backside test of something intraday. Not for the long, I don't, but for the short, I sure do. NQ still pushing highs of the day. Damn, that's frustrating not to be able to get any drop out the open. Guys, that's about as trend up a day as you can get started right out of the gate. I agree with you, Daniel. What can I say? There's just no counter rotation. Just this is the first 5 minutes. There's no volatility. So shorts if they're going to sell it, they better step in soon because I don't see anyone selling. It's very frustrating to get that open, have it hang out all night long near the lows, and not a single damn seller off the open. Forces you to buy that opening print. It's really agitating. And I've been bullish, as you can ask Daniel, all night long for a push to the upside. We're still not at resistance at 29.03. My guess is we tagged that pretty quickly into Michigan number at this point. I wish it were different. I don't think I've even seen a 5-point down rotation yet on NQ. And on ES, ES was weak all day yesterday relative to NQ. Every bar is green in the first 20 minutes on the 5-minute bar. So I'm going to reset myself now and just assume that it's going to be after 9 a.m. before I get anything worth trading going. Because I'm certainly not going to enter right before 8 minutes before the Michigan number. Let them do what they got to do. Shorts are clearly trapped. We've shaken out that short inventory overnight, right? But we have no idea how much cash flow is out there, and NQ's been relentless to the upside. And I'm not getting any, like you'd expect, 5-10 point whips, not even, right? It's all been up. Biggest rotation down I've seen has been about 4 points so far this morning. On NQ, on ES, I haven't seen a down rotation. Well, that's frustrating. Yep, I see it. I don't care what they print, Daniel. If I don't see a downside rotation, I'm not pushing one single short on this thing. I'm frustrated that I don't have the long right now. Not frustrated. It didn't set up. I had the long, didn't set up, didn't enter, didn't fill, but that really sucks. So to regulate your emotion, if you're frustrated like I am, look at the 5-minute bar. When you see us trade underneath the 5-minute bar, things have changed. Until then, nothing changes. And we just keep grinding this thing up. So you need a down rotation at this point, is what I'm saying. Tick at the high of the day and positive. Yeah, the 1574 on top is the biggest delta of the day. If we get underneath it now, just heads up as you're following it. You got to get underneath that to have any progress to the downside. I agree with all of that, Daniel. I got to wait till after the number comes out at this point. There's nothing for me to do. Anyone have a different point of view? Hey, Brian, almost all the comments are going off in the Slack channel. If you'll post in general, it'd be appreciated. You have a lot of experience. People would like to hear what you have to say, for sure. So biggest delta below intraday's is 1083, and this has still not been tested down lower. Yeah, here I'll send it to you. I'll send a link to you, Brian. Are you on Skype? Oh, here. It's this one right here, buddy. Just go to general off here to the left. All right. And then if you want to send me a direct message, you can just tag my name and send me a direct message. But the general postings are all in here, and Ralph and the guys are posting some great work in that area as well. So that's pretty much open. The only thing I ask is that it just not be the market's going down 10,000 points, or it's super bearish, or it's the end of the world kind of stuff, which you already know. All focused on the intraday setups. Does that work? Does that help? One minute till econ. Econ out. Still above that first 5-minute bar, and he is still pressing the highs. So just nothing generates a down rotation. So just heads up and caution. I'd love to see it down, but they're not giving anyone an in. And we're above VWAP on both NQ and ES. So guys, when there's no counter rotation, right, there's nothing for us to do, right? We actually need a market that goes two ways. We need a delta above 20K, or we do nothing, right? If we sit here and fight this all day long, it's not coming down to give us a long entry, and it's literally grinding up one tick over another. What does that scream? Shorts are trapped, right? This is the first half hour. It's the most volatile period. Every day we've had two-sided trade, right? Don't look at the market and go, got to be short here, right? Let the evidence of the market precede your decision making, and let them give you the backside test for the easy trade. Otherwise, all you're doing is, if you throw your short in on this, you're just throwing fuel on the fire. You're just going to pay up higher and join everyone else in driving it up. That's how it works. Mirror image move. It looks like it's in the offing, guys. Above 2903, ES is gone. So that's the test. That was the original upside target. I'm not shorting directly into the level. I got to see us have a down rotation. We're immediately into holiday mode this morning. And it's really frustrating not to have gotten that fill on the backside test down there. 7 points. If everyone wants to see my 5-minute bars, here you go. What's the deal here? Why do I keep losing this meeting? Nice, Brian. That's because that meeting ended. There we go. There's 2903. That is not cool. Biggest delta of the day, 3053. That's who you have to get underneath. Just FYI in it. You guys want to see, there's the 5-minute chart. Not a single close underneath a prior 5-minute. Every bar has been up. You want to short that? Be my merry band of guests. That's just, you are asking to put your own head in a guillotine. Just because you can't get it long doesn't mean you should short it. It's just a great way to lose money. There's no rotation. Look in the morning. We've been having counter rotations all the way through here. Look at the last couple of days. This is NQ, right? The most volatile product of the retail markets, right? Even here, you're getting rotations from 2610 to 7600. Counter rotations all the way through, all week long, right? But if you want to short it, just realize it's doing this now. This is a run once it started one time into the upside, right? We closed underneath the first 5-minute bar, but once we closed underneath that first close by the 5-minute, 75.40, right? Before it gave a reasonable counter rotation, 75.64 in a straight slow grind line, right? And it's been doing this over and over on NQ straight up. And ES has been following suit. I'll mute my phone. Sorry about that. No interest, right? So if you figure that out, look at that. That's just straight up. That's so not cool to open the market like that. Damn, I was so bullish last night and I couldn't figure out a way to get this thing hooked up. Above 29.03, guys. I've been riding it all night long. Above that, and they just sliced through it like butter. Biggest delta of the day. Delta improving since the open. It may already be all over for me today. Damn. What do you have at 06, Peter? And guys, by the way, if you're looking on the Slack channel, for those who follow Peter, realize Peter will let that trade. He's an options trader. He will let that roll against him. So we're now underneath the 35.59. If we close underneath, your trade is the backside tap for the roll to the downside. Okay, be aware. Remember, you got to get to close underneath this, or it's a no-go, right? And that's the minimum. If you look on the 5-minute bars, you actually need better than that, right? See what I mean? You got to be in nutbag. If you're trading futures, options, maybe it's a different story. That's not my area of specialty. I see what you're looking for at that 06, Peter, I think. Damn. 05. I had that thing dialed in off the open and I just did not grab. I didn't get filled. So my assumption is trend up. I'm in trend up mode. I've got no shorts on the radar, right? I've got to see some kind of break in the price action. Right now, every trap and their brother, every short and their brother is trapped. They're all begging to go, please, Lord, let me out of this short. Just give me a 1-point, 2-point rotation down. And NQ, they're begging for a 10-point rotation down. I'm laughing because it's so frustrating. Out of the gate, I wanted long, and I just could not figure out a way to hook this thing up. I wanted long since last night. Yeah. The other clue will be a red bar with a point of control beneath a green bar, right? See all the red bars, the point of controls are above on all these, right? Red bar with a point of control underneath. That'll be a sign that we're getting a shift in character, not necessarily a short entry. Okay, I will, Peter. Thank you. Delta's positive 81.17. Guys, give me just a second, please. Call Nicole.
Which one? Calling Nicole. That's Baz.
Okay, straight up, guys. I'm so pissed right now. I had this thing dialed in. Fudge. That's all right. I'm not short. I'll take that. Most likely your first trade is going to come up around London close, guys, at this rate, right? We're just trending straight up. I'm grateful that I'm not short, didn't take a short, didn't think about a short. Obviously, there's a lot of people who were like, oh, it's got to be short. I thought it was long and strong from last night. They didn't react to Asia. Fudge, I just wanted one decent long setup. Not a thing. Straight out of the gate. My hands are tied. I got nothing to do here. So clues. All right, let's go through a checklist, right? First of all, market owes us nothing. Doesn't have to give us a setup, right? Number two, we're above value area low. Number three, we're one-timing to the upside, right? Here. You do not want to short a market that is one-timing to the upside. Do not want to short that, right? We're headed into value area low, right? There's no evidence of counter rotation. If you want to short that, be my guest. I don't like shorting markets that show no weakness, no counter rotation. I realize that there might be a whole roll down. You can give me all the arguments in the world. If I don't think I can escape my trade with 2 points, I don't have visual evidence of that, I don't like putting my money on the table, right? I like the easy trades, easier than straight up, right? So this one timing has to end. That'll let us know we're coming back. This is all resistance up here, right? So I'd expect it to be grindy. But what we've done is we've gapped down. We failed to break prior day's low, right? We've stopped one timing that would argue for maybe a move into balance or consolidation up here, but no evidence from the intraday price action on the smallest range bar that I trade. No evidence in either NQ or ES. There's NQ for those who'd like to see it. Right, this is a tiny bar that I have on NQ. Right, it just kind of gives me a lead in. Where is this? There, that's NQ. This is a very large range bar. This is a very small range bar, relatively speaking. Notice this, each of these bars represents 6 points. Look how we can't close underneath the prior bar. If you want to short something like that, you're looking for superhero status on your trading. Now, I'm going to correct my statement there for a second. Peter is a swing trader, right? He's taking a short, and Peter will sit on that short for 1 or 2 days to make that work, and he will add if it continues to move against him. And that's his strategy, and he's very, very, very good at executing that strategy. I want to be clear. He's very good. He has a long proven track record, okay? If I short right now, I will not be in this trade in 20 minutes from now, most likely, right? I'll have either hit profit, maybe an hour or two if everything went perfectly, right? And it just got into a slow grind. So for me, what the market has done was I was willing on either on NQ or ES to take the backside test. Oh, I can't do it because it's on the other computer. Here we go. I was willing that's 830. See that bar right there? Biggest negative delta, the whole stream down. I was willing to take a long here and take a stop about right here, about 7 points, right? Never gave me a chance to get in, right? This is the first red bar, so am I going to jump in and go, oh, it must be short now? No, because what happens? Red bar down, up, red bar down, up. I'm going to actually have to see a break and a counter rotation in this thing. And while I may miss the top, right, sure as heck save me from, this is from the open, 76.41 to 76.82 is $800 a contract. Why you'd want to screw that up is beyond me, but I would not want to screw that up at all. Okay, so that's my 2 cents on that. And now I wait patiently. That's my choice. That's the only thing I have to do here is to wait patiently. And as you can see, we still can't get a red bar. This is a super small range bar too there. You'll notice we can't close underneath, right? Notice delta trending. We're close to getting 20K on delta. Everyone knows that that is a 2-point risk, often leads to anywhere from a 4 to 20-point push after that prints on a 20K delta, right? Be aware of that. There's no weakness in delta. We're at a high of the day. This is setting up for a mirror image move and a close on the high. We are begging right now for a backside test of a key number. And if you'll notice, this is our big delta above. If you don't get underneath them, there's no short. You're going to have to wait. The best thing that could happen to us right now is that we actually just go ahead and extend up until 11, 12 and come back and backside test this for a trade. Would be very lucky if we could get that, right? I'd rather have it just go ahead and extend right now. If you are mega aggressive, this is your first close over your biggest delta of the day. This is a 2-point risk on this bar if you want to take it. Your entry is literally right here. Your entry is literally right there at 29.05 and a quarter, right? Your stop is 2 ticks behind here. So I put your stop at 29.03 and a quarter. That's your first location. Yeah, you're buying the high of the day. That's how it works on trend day up. So and everybody wants in. Remember that. There's people trapped. Every down rotation is likely to get bought. And on NQ, the biggest delta upstairs is this guy right here. 76.25. And that bar comes with 76, 72, 25 against 76. I'd do it 63. It's almost a 10-point, 9-point stop on that trade. That's your backside test in that area if you can get it. See how they won't even tag it? They front run it by a tick. And you need below 76.65 at this point to have a short. And remember yesterday, even if you didn't catch the top, there were good shorts if you watched the video review from yesterday after the break, right? So I'm not all that interested in shorting highs. It's not my cup of tea. And again, the biggest deal here is the lack of counter rotation in the dome at all usually causes shorts to trip over one another, and you're left with a choice. Buy the shallowest of dips. And what I usually say is this trade's just not for me. The only trade I'm interested in buying is the close above 20K. First print above 20K. I'll buy that 2.5 point stop, and I pray it works. And I'll let it extend if it does. The likely target now, if we hold this 0305 area, is upstairs there at 1112, which was yesterday's. Pull this in. That was a swing high from yesterday. Let's go see if we have any exceptional deltas up there. We're already over that 4K delta that was in here. Guys, where did we get it? We backside tested it. Right there. This right here. Two biggest deltas of the afternoon. There. To there. Here, let's clean this up. Chart settings. Fine, we'll do this. Price all lines, yes. There to there. So that's at 0475. You can see, or then upstairs we have that 2748. We also have a 3679 right here as well. I guess you could extend this whole zone up into this area, that area. But above this brings up 1112 would be natural target up at that point. And you can see we just trucked right through all that resistance, right? So now guess what? In order to be short, you got to get underneath all that. And that 4K delta sitting right down here from 03 to 02, right? And that's that 33.59. See how they beat it with big deltas on the upside too? So notice even when delta's backing off here a little bit, price is continuing to push here. You want to see a break or a change in the way that the market is behaving at this point, right? And then remember on NQ right now, biggest delta is on top, and it's this 388. Actually, the biggest delta is this 426 on the day. Oh, I take it back. Opening bar, 494. So let's get the layout for everyone intraday on the smaller deltas. That looks like this. There's 494. Up top, we have this 388. You really want to see a big, so that's the guy you have to beat up top right now. Okay, that's 76.70 to 76.64. See how we were coming back to try to, we just backside tested that once we closed, but we closed above it and we just backside tested it is all we did, right? And they had an opportunity to push it down. That's delta divergence right there. No go. So you need underneath that 388. Underneath that 388 sets you back for a move to 76.47. But if you believe in that, I don't know what to say. There's just no sign of a seller around. We're getting a mirror image move. So, and I wrote last night in the Slack channel, if you look, guys, when you're checking the notes, right? I wrote some quick notes. 2903 quarters value area low and likely target up at some point tonight. 2886 is the next major area down, and just not a lot between from a profile point of view. The dip buyers should step in at some point, but it's hard to guess behavior around news to say, other than say every tariff push down has been an opportunity to get long, right? Lots of space both up and down, right? And then clearly edge to buyer. And then I put, interesting, this is 8:43 p.m. No panic in Asia. No panic in Asia, and a good chance we mirror image back up on NQ. 7654 needs to clear, and an AS 2903 to get going long, right? So I was already looking for last night in the notes the mirror image pushed back to the upside, and that's why I'm so agitated. Is because I was messing with this thing last night at 76.44, and I got a trade, but I got stopped on it overnight. I got a scale off, but I wasn't able to, I didn't hold it. Obviously, what I was hoping for is they would push it in Europe, and I would never look back. That didn't happen. So now I'm in a, there's nothing to do position. So the only thing you want to watch about this 388 is to make sure you don't get a bigger delta on top, but as long as that holds, this push back into the 70.64 area, that should, I use that word lightly, that should provide a response back up. And if you also notice, we're now trading below the biggest delta upstairs. You'd want to see a close. See how they just ran it right to that 70 to 64? That's the location for, everyone knows that's the big delta if you look on NQ, everyone knows that's the big delta on the backside, right? So we've rolled down. Now the question is, if we close underneath this 33.59, right, the backside tag with a 2-point stop is your entry to the short side. If you want it, just realize this 2903 is value area low, and it's going to most likely get defended first time in. Recognize no red bar close underneath, right? VWAP right underneath here. See how they're just stepping right back in? There's not a seller. That's not a rotation down. That's, in my opinion, tradable yet. Peter, by the way, nice call on the 2906. And you know there's some trader right now going, but the tariffs. And they don't even actually test the damn bar. Like, see how we actually, on NQ, see how we missed? I know we missed because I put the limit order right there with a stop right down here, right, just below this bar, and I didn't get hit, right? So see, everyone knows, the computers know where these are, and when there's no volatility, they don't get tagged, right? So it's just I didn't front run it. There's no velocity, but there's no sellers, and that's what can create that short squeeze up. That can be vicious because it's one tick at a time and lures you into the short side. And if you're an anxious trader, you're like, I'm going to miss the roll down. I got to short it. And then you end up paying the price. So for me, there's nothing to do until we're at the bottom of the first hour. IB high. We're very much closer to IB high than we are IB low, right? So the odds are the stat would say IB high gets broken, right? And that'll be completed. So if you're shorting, just realize you have good chances of getting that IB high broken to the upside. Okay. Let me do something really quick. And there you go. I sat there the second time they didn't film me on that 70. So I've got to get underneath here to consider a short at this point. Oh, you know what? When I recalculated, it changed the deltas. Hold on a second. This is my strongest delta on the move up. So let's rework this real quick here. We haven't gotten bigger. I expect a responsive buy and support at that 2902.50 to 2903, right? Upstairs, I've got 2832. Bill, what do you have up here as the biggest bar? Can you tell me? I'm having an issue with it, John. I didn't know when you got back, so no is the answer to that question. But when it does, we will talk. So let's try to talk later this afternoon. Like that 70. See how it's pushing right off on NQ if you're looking at your DOMs. For those of you who are joining us on YouTube, it takes time to hunt down a good trade, right? So we knew not to short this morning. That became clear, and gratefully, very profitable from the standpoint of not giving any capital back, right? But need two things, right? You need a field that's playable and tradable, right? Where you don't have to guess what the top is going to be in order to get a decent counter rotation one way or the other, right? So my trading style is counter rotation, or to trade with the trend and get it pulled back to a reasonable number, right? So my goal right now, I can tell you right now, my trade is going to be this 29.0250. I'll stop at 29.01, two ticks behind here. So 2950. So first trade back into here. This will be my long, right? We extended up to 2907. I'm targeting this 290250 for a long. Stop 2950. 2 points of risk. What's my target? First scale, 2 points up. Next target, back to the high of the day and beyond. Hopefully back to that 1516, right? And at this point, I can't get back to get the trade. But it doesn't matter. It could take 3 hours before I get back here. I'll still take this trade when it appears, right? I need to throw that up on the Slack channel. Daniel's correct. We've gotten first close underneath a 5-minute bar, but we've done that both on ES and NQ, Daniel, but there's no impulse move to the downside, and we're still fighting the biggest delta on the 6-range bar. Nice job, Peter, on the puts. I should have followed you on that. You are killing it as usual. Again, part of the big deal about our community is the posts that some of the members put up really get some nice trades coming out of that. Okay, so you can see that 76.70 has now yielded a 7-point rotation on NQ back up. Here, I'll share the chart again. That's why targeting it. See how it's coming back in. Biggest delta, backside test, boom. Roll to the upside for 7 points. It's $140 a contract. That little move, right? It's a good trade. You also know that there's buyers against this. So you also know that there's probably sellers underneath them, right? Really easy to figure out the lay of the land once you know where the big buyers and sellers are sitting. And is this bearish? No, right now all this is consolidation on the move higher. Delta's positive, right? We've pushed up. We now have a rotation up of approximately 10 points. It's a normal place to take a breather in the market. But so here's my real question underlying it all. What drives the market lower if it isn't the China news, right? Once again, it's the same scenario when we look back in a couple of days, right? When you're like, oh, we had China news. There's a one-day wonder down in a bull market, and everyone's looking to get long. And I'm going to go, pretty much. And if you're going back to the highs on NQ, by the way, you're looking all the way back over at 76.96. Another 20 points away from where we are approximately, 30 points away from where we are. Excuse me, I stand corrected. 20 points away from where we are. And then if you get a short squeeze above, well, amen. Don't get bearish in a bull market. It's very, very hard to make it work. Unless you're Peter, in which case apparently everything is easy. Right, Peter? All your trades are easy, right? I could not agree with you more, Daniel. I guess people are going to be looking for profit taking. The other thing is the precision of the accuracy of the entry, right? Very important to controlling the risk. You have to be willing to let the trade go if it doesn't fill you. It's all right to front run it by a tick or two. I suppose I should have. I just would have thought we could have had some push into this location. And I still think that this location is totally valid if we can get into it. By the way, I forgot to mention, I read a very interesting article yesterday, and someone mentioned this guy does research for hedge funds, so just be aware of this. That today is the last day that Mueller can reasonably make comments about the investigation without being perceived for some reason to be interfering with the November elections. So it's just a hunch, but the word is on the street that Mueller is making a news announcement sometime today with regard to President Trump and his investigation. And so if that were to occur, right, and it were negative, you would expect a massive, ugly wind to the downside. So just keep your stops in place. That's something you can't bet on. But if you see the market all of a sudden just take a nasty bump to the downside, no, it's probably Mueller's making a news announcement of some sort. That's not solid. You can't lean on it. There's nothing to trade against it, but it is out there. Pushing in against that 388. Again, I'd expect a response out of that on NQ. That's 70 to 64. Till that 64 goes, this is a valid area. All right. I was wondering if my chart was broken, but we just literally haven't come off at 2903, have we? We've just been sitting here on ES. Look at that. There's just, we've parked. No, you know what? My chart isn't all the way on the hard right edge. Sorry. Apologies. That 2902.50 hit, guys, I apologize. I didn't put my order in. I didn't see my chart. Did anyone else take the 0250? It hit right to the tick and one tick below. Damn, Simon. The stop on that is 2 points below. So that trade worked. I can't believe I don't have that trade, but I don't have that trade. I'm limit at 0250 for a long on ES if they'll fill me. Still want it. Stop 2 points. Sorry, guys. Totally missed my entry. I'm filled at 2902.50. Target 2904.50 for my first scale. Again, this is just part of an ongoing stat of a series of trades that have been working over and over again, right? This one particular trade working one way or the other, while it would suck to get stopped as it always does, it's just one of many, many trades that I'll be taking, right? Over and over again until I finally get, well, actually it's just been a string. It's been massively profitable. So I don't care is my whole point. So 2902.50, 2904.50 is already in for the exit. Let's go. And then you scale according to your plan, whatever your trade plan may be, right? If you need 1 point, take 1 point. If you need 5 points, target 5 points. I'm targeting 2 for the scale, right? And then I'm targeting the high of the day next. And yeah, no one likes taking trades near the high of the day. Oops, sorry, I meant to put that in general. Sorry. Yeah, NQ is just, it's been ripping for days. I don't know who'd want to be short that. The short's just an illusion for anything other than a scalp. I'm sure someone's going to catch it and have fantasies of 30-point roll downs. If you're short, you better get Mueller out there. You better say the president's guilty of sin. He ain't going to say that, so. Expect algos over the next couple of minutes into the top of the hour. And then London close comes up. I've not scaled. I'm holding for 0450, right? So my risk is the same. It's incumbent upon you to make sure you're managing the risk that's according to your profile, okay, and what you're comfortable with. Giddy up, 0450, let's go. I'm sitting there with 573 other contract souls waiting to get filled. And just to be clear, especially for those who are visiting on YouTube, if I get stopped on this trade, I will take my very next setup, right? And the one after that, and the one after that, unless I hit my max stop for the day, I will follow as best as I mentally can my process from A to B to C to D, all the way through, right? Two more ticks. If I get within one tick, I will move my net stop to break even if I can't get my scale. So if we trade 04 quarter and I don't get hit at 0450, my stop will move to break even, just FYI. So if you were within two ticks and that's your tolerance, do what you got to do, right? That's what I know what I'm going to do. And I've not moved my stop to break even. Obviously, there's going to be some noise right around this period of time. Again, this bar is valid until it goes. It's support until broken, right? It's not support if it's not support unless it holds it to the tick, right? It's support until broken, right? So they've got to take my 2 points, right? Or they got to pay me my 2 points, one of the two, for me. So I can make it look as scary as they want. The most damage they can do to me is $100 a contract. So bring it. I'm all right with it. I take far more from them than they will ever take from me. That hasn't always been the case, right? I've had bad trading periods before where I wasn't completely adherent to my process, but I can assure you those days are gone for me. Too much stress, right? Too much stress to take. The drawdowns are just mentally bone crushing. Come on, 450. Let's just do it. Everyone likes a 450. Okay, we've come within a tick on the ask. So if I don't get my scale now, I'm moving stop temporarily to break even, right? So I want to make sure that I get hit. Since I'm not taking the 04 1/4, right? I'm within a tick of getting hit. Stop to break even momentarily. Oh, that's random. Let's do general. Anyone get a fill yet? I haven't gotten a fill. I must be like the last guy. That's 200, 500 people. Anyone? Mari, you get hit? And I'm filled. Okay. So that's 2 points in the bag. Now choose whether you want to move your stop to break even, net break even, or the original break even, right? So right now, my 2 point stop is paid for, right? And I'm going to sit back and see if I can't push up towards the high of the day into London close. I may not be able to, right? So that's a choice I'm making. You have to decide whether you want to move your stop to the actual entry, right? The 0250. And what you're going to scale from here. So my next target up is I'd like to try to hit that 2907 next is what I'm targeting. So the biggest delta upstairs, actually, let's do this logically. Biggest delta upstairs were above, but this is clearly resistance right here from 05 1/4 to 0675. So let's split the difference. Next scale, let's just go for 2906 for the next quarter. And then move stop to break even. So I'll be just shy of 4 points on that trade. We're probably gonna have to give it a little bit of time. That was the algo push right at 10 a.m. that got us that first scale. There's really nothing here to lean on for. There's no reason to be short there at all, unless you're just playing a double top or whatever your flavor is of the trend. If you like to short trend days up. Okay, and don't forget, I will take the 20K delta trade when and if it prints, right? 2 point stop on the close of the first delta above 20K on a 6 range bar. Whether or not it's the biggest delta or not, I'm willing to take the loss. Thank you, Peter. Appreciate you. NQ also worked perfectly and was worth 10 points as we traded 76.80 and has revisited the high of the day. Again, the point here is when you're trading, right, you don't have to guess the whole market. Even if you get agitated, as I did in the morning, the key is don't respond to the agitation, respond to the process over and over and over again, and the P&L will just follow it. Pretty magical. When you look back at it and you go, wow, I've learned my process. I followed my process. I take some stops. Majority of my trades are wins. Randy, did you get paid? Daniel, did you get paid? Yeah, Daniel, I've been arguing that. I agree with that. Nice job. Nice job, Randy. Anyone else grab it? That's a pretty money setup, guys. So at this point, I'll go ahead and move my stop begrudgingly to 29.0250. And odds are if we get a VWAP test, I will reload on that. But my stop's at break even right now. I'd like to go ahead and get the 06 I know that we're going to run into some resistance up here. I'd just like to push into that 06 to get my next scale. So moving stop to break even 29.0250. You manage the trade. You need the way you need to manage it, right? Brian, did you grab that, buddy? Stopped. That was quick. Stopped, guys. Oh, what a jacking of an algo was that? Did you see that? Really? Did they just come and say, okay, I'm just going to take your stop, Simon. Thank you. So much for the brilliance of moving your stop to break even, huh? Yeah, I don't know why it's not showing up, Brian. Oh, there it is. Okay, cool. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. It sure does look like they gunned for us, doesn't it? That's all right. It'd be good to get a big delta down here and then get above it. Another big delta push down and then get above it. That'd be helpful. You've also had a momentum push to the downside now. So if you close above that, clock to the upside. Oh, a lot of momentum pushes down here. That hasn't printed yet. I gotta check something here. Okay. Why does my numbers look different over here? There we go. Not reloading at the moment. First test of VWAP. Of course, you have an easy stop there, but that bar should hold no matter what. That is support until broken, just FYI. A VWAP test is normal, right? And normally you're going to have traders buying that VWAP test. Okay, guys, and we've completed that now. Remember, as long as that delta holds, it's still valid. Okay, we've already taken our 2 points out of it. I'm just going to kind of let it go for right now until after London close, but it is valid. I thought we had that 06. If you're feeling especially bullish, you can apply your P&L from the prior trade and reload at 29.02 and a quarter or 29.02 and use the same stop. And if you're not and you're trying to learn from it, just note it, right? Does it hold? Does it not hold, right? On second test. For me, it's support until broken. And the worst they can do to you here is 2 points, right? I'm going to take NQ 76.69.50, 76.69.75 against 76.63. So 6 points of risk. So again, that's a very speculative trade, right? I've got 6 points of risk on that trade. 63 is the stop. If they're going to flush it or reverse it, this is where they're going to do it. But this should hold into VWAP first time. NQ has a higher failure rate than ES does by miles. And it looks like they're going to take me. Not yet. So 63 is a hard stop on that. The risk here is as we approach London close is profit taking from longs into London close. So keep that in mind if you're in the trade. Again, I'm just take the stop or I'll take the profit. I'm sized correctly. On what time frame, please, Peter? Daniel. I don't think I'm not looking short at all, so I can't. I think it's important, but look, the market's not responding, right? The market's not responding to what brought the market down, right? So unless that becomes important to the market all of a sudden, I don't know what to say because I don't believe it's an important marker, right? I think the overall overriding picture here is how are you going to get them? How are you going to motivate sellers here, right? You had the news, and the news did zip, right? So what do we have from here to make it work? I know, but okay, so I understand that the market might roll down. I'm with you from a purely technical aspect, right? But I'm just talking, think about it logically. You've actually, to make that work for anything other than a scalp, which may be, I see what you're talking about now. How do you get it to work? Right? Like, how do you actually get people to step up and sell this thing when there's no evidence of any, this is not like a flush down. This is a slow grind into support is all it is. Right? So how do we get people to go, oh yeah, I'm out of here. This is horrible. Let me sell it back down to the low when all the behavior is grind and trend, right? So I see the number you're talking about. I don't disagree with the number you're talking about, right? I see it upstairs and I see that we closed underneath and we haven't backside tested it. That's a good target up, right? But I do not see the argument for, I just don't see it. I don't want to be short. Let's put it that way. It's the harder side of the trade. And if they roll it over, awesome. And if they break it like yesterday and we actually get a big rotation down, I'll trade that. Again, Danielle, I'm with you. If that setup works for you, I'm all right with it. It's really hard for me to trade against what I think is going on in my mind with the market. And what I see what's going on with the market is that they've had a really, really difficult time pushing it down at all over the last couple of days. So if that trade fits you and you're comfortable taking the stops, I find that I have more mistakes. So let me be clear. You're looking for a short, and I hear you on that. I have no problem with that, right? For me, it's very hard for me to focus on where I think the bigger reward is. Be long, turn around, flip, be short, and be confident in that, right? I think and I believe the better trade is to the upside in this environment. And unless it's glaringly, perfectly clear that we are rolling lower, you won't see me taking a short up here for anything other than a scalp. And I'm more willing to do it on ES than I am on NQ because NQ has been a freaking fireball to the upside. One down day and a massive trend up does not make a good trade for me. I agree. So what you're asking me, there's nothing wrong with it, right? And I'm all right if you want to short, knock your socks off, right? But for me, right, that's very, very hard for me to accept. Now, hypothetically, we've closed underneath that big delta, and this backside test is resistance, but it's right around VWAP. And I still don't see how they motivate sellers to step in on this, right? I just don't. So again, it's just hard for me uh, to want to jump in on that trade in any way, shape, or form. Cool. And if you have a scalp there and you want to take it, yep, I agree. Now, if we roll and I get convinced that we can get underneath key areas and we're actually going to roll and sellers are going to actually show up, I'll be short. I have no problem doing that. 6 minutes till London close. Guys, I'll be right back. I got to make a quick phone call. Be about 15 minutes. Hey guys, I'm back in. So total U-turn, right? Delta's turned negative again. We did not get the largest delta of the day on top. So let's go through this and see if I could have done this better. What we did get on top was $28.32. We closed underneath the $28.32, but we had the 30.63 right underneath it, right? So we went long the backside of the 30.63 in expectation that it would continue like this, right? Instead, what the market did was you would normally expect on what looks like a trend day up is a backside test of VWAP for continuation, right? So we got the trade here. I don't think anyone got stopped on that trade. Everyone should have had anywhere from 2 to 3 points at least, right? Come back in, didn't take the trade. We break underneath. So Randy, I saw you put in the trade. I apologize, I was on the phone, but we come back in, we hold this one time, this bar, close underneath, right? See how we clearly close underneath? Okay. And your backside test of that bar was 29.01. That's where the stop was. Is that correct? Let me stretch that out to make sure we're right. Okay. There's your 29.01. There's your close underneath. So Randy, that 29.01, did you not get hit at 29.01 on that? What happened there? Or you just decided once it was down here that you wanted the 29.01? Okay, I'm going to assume you wait till it's down here and this is where you're backside testing, but if you'll look and we follow process, right? Break below, right in front of London close. I understand not wanting to take a short in front of London close, and I did not take that short either. But if you look, close underneath, backside test. This is just order flow reading, right? Sellers trapped. Everyone knew that was a long position. You can see, right? Break down underneath, roll to the downside. We haven't gotten a bigger delta. So at any rate, I will, anyways, I'll be back in just a couple of minutes. Actually, let me do this on YouTube, guys. I'm going to kill it because I have to go. I'm dealing with a contractor issue. I apologize. And by the way, we just backside tested, I believe, this was what we were trying to get long overnight. And the biggest delta downstairs was the 1840. That's what we're testing right now, right? That was originally what I was looking for a backside test into in the morning, right? Obviously this is where we opened up. We never backside tested. And so now this is what we're backside testing now. This should hypothetically act as support, but I don't know for a fact. Anyways, okay, thank you guys. I will talk to y'all later. And thanks for joining. If you'd like to visit us in the room, send me an email. I'll be happy to. TRADERTOUGH@gmail.com. And have a great day. Trade well, and have a great weekend.